Hey there, and welcome to sentence pattern number 3, or how sentences can explain not only themselves, but one another. Here's what we'll do today. We're going to figure out what makes this pattern number 3. Think about how sentences can actually explain one another. Look at ways to combine sentences using sentence pattern number 3. And of course, as always, we'll get in some practice. First of all, what is pattern number 3? Well, like last time, I'm going to give you a little bit of an example and see if you can figure it out. Breakfast has changed forever. Now I can get an Egg McMuffin at midnight. What's going on in that sentence? Well, the colon in that sentence gives us sort of a unique opportunity as a writer. I'm going to make a statement to my reader. Breakfast has changed forever. And that's going to pique the reader's interest. The reader's going to go, well, what do you mean breakfast has changed forever? And that colon that appears after that first sentence, that first independent clause, is basically sending a message to the reader saying, pay attention, reader. Why is it that breakfast has changed forever? Why, it's changed forever because now I can get an Egg McMuffin at midnight, and McDonald's isn't doing that crazy thing anymore where they only serve breakfast until 10:30. What's that all about? So, remember pattern 1? It's subject, verb, semicolon, subject, verb. For this one, you actually have a causal relationship. That second sentence has to give you an example or an explanation. That is what that colon is saying. A semicolon is just saying, hey, here's a new sentence. A colon is saying, hey, here's a new sentence that's actually going to explain that first sentence. Here's the key to sentence pattern number 3. Both parts have to be a complete sentence. The first part before the colon has to be a complete sentence. The second part after the colon has to be a complete sentence. And the second part either explains, gives an example, or provides an answer to the reader. Here's another example. Fall was his favorite time of year. He loved pumpkin lattes and decorative gourds. Well, who doesn't? The first part of that sentence, fall was his favorite time of year, introduces an idea that we're kind of wondering, well, why is that his favorite time of year? And there's the colon to help us. Well, it's because he loved pumpkin lattes and decorative gourds. Now, if you look at this, you're going to notice that he is capitalized. You may have noticed that I've been doing this through this entire presentation. Well, what about capitalization? Here's a surprise. Even the staunchest, most stringent grammarians, yes, that is a thing, say that you can either capitalize the word after the colon or not. It is completely up to you. What? Grammarians hardly ever say stuff like this. I mean it. They really don't. They don't say stuff like this. So enjoy it. But be consistent with your usage throughout your document and make sure that the words on either side of that colon are actually sentences. Of course, there are ways you can really mess this up. Look at my so wrong sentence. He has a problem with pets. 2 lizards, 3 snakes, and a ferret. Well, that may indicate a problem, but it's not a complete sentence. The second example is the right one. He has a problem with pets. No one should own 2 lizards, 3 snakes, and a ferret. Don't get me wrong, you can put a colon before a list. Just don't capitalize the words that come after the colon. And by the way, that's not actually sentence pattern number 3. So if you're suddenly getting all interested in colons and want to know more about how they can operate in other ways that aren't just sentence pattern number 3, you should really watch this video on YouTube, which is fairly instructional. Here's the video by Sean McLeod, who works for a company called Smart English. He has a lot of pretty interesting videos, and you can see that he is quite earnest in what he needs to tell you.
Okay, let's talk about rules for using colons.
Because, of course, that's pretty fascinating stuff. Maybe a clarifying example would help here. Our first sentence has a colon with a list after it. Taylor loves to play all video games. Halo, The Witcher, even Mario Kart. You see pictured here, Geralt of Rivia, the star of The Witcher. We have a nice little list after our first sentence. We use a colon. It is not sentence pattern number 3. The second part is sentence pattern number 3 with 2 sentences on either side of the colon. Taylor loves to play all video games. Halo, The Witcher, even Mario Kart have all earned her suspicious devotion. Of course, I'm going to ask you to post something to Twitter. You should put up your sentence pattern number 3. Here's mine. October might be the perfect month. Baseball, hockey, and football all converge. That is, of course, sentence pattern 3. Please send it to me at Ms. Verb. Hit tweet, share it with everybody. Notice that I made the stylistic decision here not to capitalize the B in baseball. It really is up to you. Those grammarians are not going to criticize you for this. Why should you use sentence pattern 3? Well, when you use a sentence to explain another sentence, it takes the reader along on the journey of your thoughts. That first sentence is going to get the reader's attention, and then the second part is going to give a nice kind of closure. Also, giving that quick and meaningful explanation helps your reader visualize your point in a way that can't really be done without this pattern. Here's a summary of your tasks. Go to Twitter, make sure you post your own sentence pattern number 3. Make sure you put sentence pattern number 3 and at Ms. Verb in your tweet. Watch the video if all of a sudden you are getting way interested in punctuation and colons. When you make your sentence, don't forget to use a sentence on either side of that colon and watch out for punctuation. As always, you should challenge each other to write the best sentences using sentence pattern number 3. And don't forget to have fun.